Welcome once again, everyone. My name is Seewing Yee from the University Network, and my co-host is Maureen McCann from SpartanInvest.com. How are you, Maureen? Welcome.
How fantastic, Seewing. It's always a pleasure. So nice to see you.
Absolutely. So without further ado, let's get right on in. We have so much content and so much great real estate investing information to share. So let's not waste any more time. I'm going to go over this particular slide. Before I do that, let me just create my, all right. So the title of this video is "This Simple Calculation Will Catapult Your Real Estate Wealth Building." And we're going to use this sample cash flow sheet, what we call, technically speaking, is a pro forma, in case people are not aware. So I'm going to break it down how easy for any real estate investor, whether you are experienced or whether you are newbie. I'm going to show you a high level from a numerical perspective, how to do your initial research and due diligence. Right. And so it's really so simple when it comes down to it. I mean, yeah, in a way, it's hard to become a real estate investor successfully over time, but in a way, it's very, very easy. The system that we use is amazingly easy, but that is just my humble opinion. Here we go. This sample is a real property, but the numbers, yeah, you can make a larger number, smaller number, does not matter. But the high level explanation will really kind of resonate with you. So how do you do research? Let's say you as a real estate investor have concluded your research. You have focused on a specific market, specific neighborhood, specific street, specific house. So now how you can buy an investment property to achieve success, cash flow, and everything else. So I'm going to use this reverse numerical reverse financial engineering, if you will. So let's proceed. Now, let's say, okay, so let's say your target property, in this case, just an educational example, is $121,000, which is, I plugged this property out of your Spartan Invest link.
I recognized it. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is that's what Maureen does. Her company promote this kind of properties in that area of the country, Alabama, Tennessee, and northern Georgia. But we're just using this sample, generic example. So investor, so you do the number, right? You found a house that you like. For example, $120,000 investment property you may want to buy. So how are you going to do this? How are you going to crunch the numbers? Quote unquote, crunch the numbers. Okay, I'm going to share with you another way to easily do this is you calculate the monthly expenses, calculate the monthly debt service. All right. So before I go any further, now it's just we a owner occupied primary home buyers, they buy based on mortgage monthly payment and the interest rate. As an investor, that's not how you do it. An investor buy based on several numerical formulas: cash flow, capitalization rate, as you can see on the top of this sheet, upper right-hand corner, rent to value ratio, cash on cash return, debt coverage ratio, total ROI, so forth and so on. We're not going to go over the formulas. It'll take too long. But simply, all you got to do is on a monthly basis, determine the monthly expenses. Determine what are the typical expenses associated with owning a property. You may not be able to see that well, but I will verbally share that with you. The monthly expenses are property tax for the property, the property management fee, let's say 8 to 9% of the rent, and then the insurance, whatever it is, $50, $60, $70 per month, and the mortgage payment. So I'm using the current mortgage for investor as of today, November 2022, the interest rate is, investor have to pay higher interest rate than a owner-occupied buyer. We all know that. So the assumption I use is 7.5% 30-year fixed rate mortgage. So at 7.5% 30-year fixed rate mortgage, you put 25% down payment. Your total down payment is $30,250. Then your monthly mortgage, I can see the picture is on is I think $635.
635. Yeah, 635.
Okay, 635. So 635 is part of your monthly debt service, and then your property taxes. I can see my big screen. What is the monthly property taxes? Can you see? If not,
no. Nope. Oh wait. Nope. I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a split screen. Okay, here it is. All right. So the right here. So the monthly insurance is $57. The property tax is $50 per month, and then we factor in around 5% of the maintenance on an annual basis that can come out of your rental income to fix any minor fix-up costs, and also the maintenance, the vacancy factor, 3% of the rent, of the annual rent. So that come out of the monthly debt service, and then the property management fee, which comes up to $83 per month, as long as your properties gets rented, and of course your monthly mortgage is $635. So the total of your monthly debt service is a little bit less than $950. That's fine. So, all right. So let's recap. Initially, you've done your critical due diligence. All the total of your expenses monthly, property taxes, insurance, property management fee, as we discussed, maintenance, vacancy loss factor, and then whatever the monthly debt service is, now the key is find try to entice a prospective tenant to rent this property, projected rent. If the projected rent in this case is $950, if the projected rent based on your further research, and we're using this assumption $950, and at the end of the day, this $950 monthly gross rent minus all the debt service, and then you will have your monthly positive cash flow of what? Up the right hand corner. Do you see that?
$50.
Yeah, $60. So look at the big picture. This is a win. This is a win for a real estate investor. Anytime, whether you buy $121,000 property or $250,000 property or $350,000 property, if you use similar metrics, if you calculate all your debt service, including your mortgage payment, and you're able to encourage and entice a renter, and they can pay you whatever the amount, and then your gross monthly rent is larger than your total monthly debt service, your expenses, you still have a break even or slight monthly cash flow, and that's a win. That is 90% of your due diligence right there. And furthermore, given right now we're experiencing a historic renters nation, meaning there are more renters now than ever in history of modern America. We're talking the past 100 years or even 1,000 years. So we can make another assumption that in the next 10 years, there's a very strong possibility. I know nobody can predict the future, that you're going to have maybe 3 renters for the next 10 years, 3 to 4 renters. So all you do, risk investing is so easy to me. So all you do, Maureen, all you do is find a renter that's willing to stay 2 or 3 years, right? I mean, it's an annual lease, yeah. And that's pretty realistic assumption. Find a renter that can rent 2 or 3 years at a time, and then when that renter leaves, find another renter with the help of your property management, of course, to rent 2 or 3 or even 4 years, and just use the 10-year projection. 3 or 4 renters, just like that, gonna help you become wealthy. Or you, as a landlord, real estate investor, Maureen, you and I know what we're talking about. All your only risk is your down payment. And your down payment is leveraged by lending, by the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. You're paying 20 to 25% down payment. That's your only risk. Over time, making all these assumptions, if you pick the right market, you pick the right house, and you surround yourself with the right team, 3 or 4 renters in the next 10 years will make you rich. How? Well, now your turn to explain. What's going to happen? What is the best case scenario, the worst case scenario for the next 10 years or more? How, even with a monthly cash flow with measly $60 as we speak, I mean, on the surface, you think, oh, I'm not, our investor might think we put ourselves in an investor's shoe. They say, how can I commit the total risk of my down payment, 30 grand, to buy this particular house, and my monthly net cash flow is only $60?
Well, remember, that's only year one. That is year one. And this is a long-term buy and hold. And I always say math is money and money is fun, and facts don't care about your feelings. And this is not something that you are, buying today to flip at 12 months from now, 24 months from now. It's called long-term buy and hold for a reason. And you and I just recently tuned into an exceptionally good YouTube video that you shared with me from Barry Habib. And one of the slides that stood out in my mind is the one that showed, it broke down the net worth. What percent did you fall into? Were you in the 1%, 2%, 5%, 10%? And he broke down what the net worth of those, the dollar amount of how to fall into that particular class. And I don't have to go down through all of the tiers. If you're in the top 1%, it's 10.5 million, et cetera, et cetera. But what I took away from that slide the most was this, is that 2/3 of individuals' wealth is from, fill in the blank, theory ceiling,
real estate or home equity. Yep.
Equity, right? So the majority, if you're in the top 1%, top 2%, top 3, 5, the majority of your wealth is determined by the equity that you have in your property, maybe even your primary, but properties, meaning your investment properties. So when people are asking, how do we play this wealth game? How do we win at the money game? Tony Robbins, he's got that book, How to Win the Money Game. And it is a game, and you have to know the rules to play the game, and don't allow interest rates to deter you from starting the game, because interest rates, they're just a tool. If the 30-year fixed mortgage is a tool for you to get in, and it goes up, the interest rates go up and they go down. They typically go down. Actually, they typically go up before a recession. And do you think we're knocking at the door of a recession? And then what happens during recession? They come back down. So what goes up definitely comes back down. And looking at that $60 a month in cash flow from that spreadsheet may not look impressive for year one, but wait until you see what happens year 10. And not just from the cash flow piece, but from the equity accrual, from the renter paying down our debts, to the capital appreciation or equity growth, which, remember, 2/3 of your wealth is based off of the equity you have in your properties. So sitting on the sidelines today, You're going to have FOMO because we are really in this is the market you have been waiting for. This is the market. This is the opportunity that is here because you and I know the data, Seewing. The housing gap is widening. It all comes down to basic economics. You know this, supply and demand. When you have more supply than demand, then prices come down. And I think we're going to see that actually here coming up this next holiday buying season as stores are flush with inventory. They've been able to get the supply chain has been easing. There's more product available. And so you're going to see softening on prices. The same thing happens in housing as well. But the problem that we have in the United States is we do not have enough housing. We're 2 to 6 million units short today. So going back, let's tie it all together. Bring it back to your opening, which was the simple calculation that you need to know, to understand why the math makes sense. Is that your $25,000 that you are putting down as equity into this, your first investment property, or second or third or 10th. That just doesn't buy you that cash flow of $60 a month. It buys you the wealth building tool that increases your net worth because of the increase in value of the scarce amount of housing units currently available. So buy, hold, get the equity, increase your net worth, increase your wealth. And that is a simple formula that you can follow.
Well, Maureen, here's my takeaway from the pro forma cash flow analysis that we show everyone at the beginning. My takeaway is one of this property is not going to be enough. Yeah, $120,000 property is a good start. So, risk investor, doesn't matter where you live in the country. You can buy out of state, you can buy passively, you can buy remotely. You need to buy more than one. How many more? It all depends on your goal. It all depends on how much money you have for down payment to buy each property. So you buy investment property, one rental at a time. You find a good team to surround yourself with. Hire the proper property management so you could do this part time as an investor, and let your team do all the hard work, do all the heavy lifting. So furthermore, you need to scale your real estate portfolio. You need to buy 3, 4, 5, 10 or more of these over time. Now, some of our investors, Maureen, you and I work with over the years, some have purchased 20 or 30 of these types of property.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking regular, average Joe out there, regular mom and pop investors. They can do this. They have to find the right system, find the right team, put down, find a good market, in a fast-growing market with affordable entry-level homes, $120K, $150,000, $200,000 houses, as long as the rent cover your initial debt service, you get a little bit of cash flow. Scale your portfolio, buy multiple property over time. Some people buy 2 or 3 at a time. Some people can only tolerate buying one rentals at a time, every few months, every 6 months, every year, fine. But scale the portfolio in order to get to retirement, whatever that means to many of you. You need more properties, more cash flow, more equity, and then 10 to 15 years, 20 years later, you are ready to quote unquote achieve financial freedom. Then you could live your life on your own terms. So that's the one more thing I want to say is that we're going through some very challenging times. You just you need to avoid chatter, avoid the noise. If recession happens, or which is it may already happen, who knows? We have there's a lot of negativities going on out there, the economy, the jobs, the recession, inflation, but don't let that scare you. because as a real estate investor, you need to stick to your gun. You need to commit to the long term. Do not panic, because as long as you're getting the renter, I mean, all you need is for the renter to occupy your rental property, and it just show discipline. That's a skill set that's more important than anything else, in my opinion. And so that's my takeaway. It doesn't matter if your house decrease in value and at some point in time. Your real estate is cyclical, but a long term, if you look at the past real estate cycle, every 10-year timeline, your property is going to grow in value. That's my takeaway. So one last minute takeaway: what are some of the non-quantitative quantitative issues that, in your mind, investors need to in order to stay the course? What are your thoughts? What are some of the additional skill set an investor need in order to become successful long term, other than what I just said?
Discipline, courage, expanding their network. I've had this conversation. I'm thinking of one gal in particular. She decided that she had never invested in real estate before. She wanted to, and she didn't tell anybody, not even her live-in boyfriend. She didn't tell her family, didn't tell her coworkers, because she didn't want the naysayers to derail her from what her focus is. And this was a gal, Deanna is her name. Talked to her about a year and a half ago. She now owns 6 single family rental properties. She's in 2 syndications in multi-units, and she is about to invest in some storage units. So here was a gal who knew nothing about real estate, wanted to do it, didn't tell anybody that she was going to do it, has done it, and now her live-in boyfriend is like, oh, that was a really good idea. But she knows that if she had told him that she was going to do all these things, he would have deterred her. And so surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded, that are doing better than you financially because they're doing something, whether it's real estate or crypto, I don't care what it is. Find someone who's really doing well, team up with them, be in their, circle your wagon around their camp and learn from them. So discipline, courage, and solid data, really looking at solid data and not just listening to let's face it, fear sells. So people are going to go into let's talk about how everything is horrible, when you know what, if you actually cut through all of that noise and you look at the shipping, sorry, there's my cat, the shipping, freight, numbers, you look at the housing number of units that are being built, you look at the number of new houses, new housing formations. These housing is just a need that is never going to go away. And so you might as well be the landlord offering the property to someone who's priced out to buy right now.
Absolutely, very well said. With that in mind, Maureen McCann from SpartanInvest.com, thank you so much for your time. And to Seewing Yee from the Real Estate Network. If you're watching us on the YouTube channel, please smash the like button and also subscribe to my YouTube channel.